Okay, hello everyone. I should go ahead and share my screen. This is a wonderful start to the recording. Welcome, folks. Thanks for coming to office hours. Please bear with me through a few technical difficulties as I look for my PowerPoint. Oh, no, that's not what I want.
Also, Molly, if you want to share it with me, maybe because like internet-wise, I could share my screen. I don't know if that would help. Oh, you got it.
I think it just needed to refresh and the Zoom bar was just in the way for me. Thanks for offering though. Okay, slideshow. We are going to start here. Okay, thanks y'all. This is officially our fourth office hour called Living on the Stipend. We are going to talk all about budgeting. I'll share some advice, and we're also going to do a little bit more of a deep dive into some of the benefits of serving with City Year. Super excited to chat with y'all about this topic today. My name is Molly. I'm your service year advisor. I served with City Year Los Angeles from 2015 to 2017. Pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I've been with City Year for about 6.5 years now. A lot of this wisdom comes from other folks who have served with City Year and have passed on this information to me, and I'm also going to touch on some of my experiences during my service years in the hopes that y'all will find it beneficial and just useful as you begin to think about how you're going to live on the stipend for your upcoming service year. So super excited to dive into anything and everything. As a quick agenda, we'll do some quick introductions. We'll do some City Year 101, 101, where I'll talk about service expectations. I recap them at every office hour session, so maybe review, maybe new if this is the first time you're watching an office hour session. Then, like I said, we'll talk about some benefits, budgeting tips, and end with a little Q&A time. Okay, so the goal is that you understand service expectations. That's what I review at every office hour. But we also want to make sure folks understand the range of benefits that City Year does offer for all of our AmeriCorps members. And we'll close out with some advice, of course, for stretching the City Year stipend. Okay, so for some quick introductions, we have a couple people joining our call today. So for those of you who are here, I would love for you to take yourself off mute, or you can share in the chat if you don't want to be in the recording. But go ahead and tell us your name, where you're from, and what's one low budget activity you enjoy doing for fun. If you need ideas, like my name is Molly, I'm from Santa Barbara, and one low budget activity I love doing is going to the park or going to the beach for a picnic. Anything outdoors where people are bringing food for fun. Who would like to go first?
I can go. Hi, my name is Amy. I'm actually from Los Angeles myself. And I guess one low budget activity that I really like doing is going on long walks. And I really love going to the beach too.
Hi, I'm Victoria. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm from Virginia, and I'd say an activity I like to do when I'm on a budget, similar Amy and also Molly, I like to go outside, get some fresh walks or fresh air. Going hiking is one of my favorite pastimes. So
awesome. Lots of us are a little outdoorsy, so it's cool to hear. Cool. Alrighty, I guess to dive into service expectations, it should sound very familiar to you folks as you've gone through the application process, and we've talked about this a bit in our one-on-ones. But as a senior core member, you are really part of your school community. You are working with your fellow teammates, school staff, partner teachers, and of course, students and their families. You're a strong like tutor, mentor, and role model to the students that you serve. And you will serve at a systematically under-resourced school. And so it's important to note that the students that you're supporting do struggle with concerns that are kind of like outside of their control, like different obstacles related to food insecurity or trauma or health issues. And these are all things that we talk about during Basic Training Academy. It is important to note that the schools you serve are focused around these communities. And you're not going to be alone. You are going to serve on a team of around 5 to 12 other city or core members. You'll be led by a team leader who is a senior core member, and you'll have a program manager who is a full-time city or staff member who manages the school partnership. So this is generally the work you're doing. I don't have any videos to share today, but I will go through a general typical day in the life as well. This is for a full-time student success coach. So around your day will start pretty early in the morning. It'll range between like 7 and 7:15, just depending on your school partnership and when their school day begins. But you'll meet with your teammates, you'll greet students and their families as they arrive to school. And during the morning, you're in the classrooms with your students doing one-on-one or small group literacy or math sessions with your focus list students. You'll learn more about how you're going to build up your focus list of students and how you choose those folks during your first 2 weeks of service as well. But just keep in mind, you will have a select group of students who you'll be supporting throughout the year. You will have your own lunch period and break throughout the day. You will have a planning period for you to work on your own lesson plans or work with your teammates about an event you might be planning. And then in the afternoon space, you'll go back into the classroom before you kick off your after school program, which you are going to lead with your teammates. That after school program is where you can do additional homework help or one-on-one support with your focus list students. The day ends around 5:30. Your after school program will have a set end time, but some parents are, they may need to take their time picking up their kids after the day, so there can be some range for when you go home. So just something to note, your end time might be flexible. An average day is around 10 hours. Some days will be a bit less, some days will be a bit more. This is generally what you can expect during a typical day. No day is going to be exactly the same, but this is a general structure that you can use to think about your year ahead. If you're a part-time school day learning coach, this is the generalized schedule we have. A typical day will start around 8 a.m. and can end at 1:30. Similarly, you'll be in the classroom doing one-on-one and small group sessions with your students throughout the day. You'll have your own lunchtime as well. Breaks might look different from student success coaches, but we'd share more details with you once we have them. This is generally what you can expect in terms of hours. Alrighty. And this is a quick recap of the communities we serve. Some of our school partnerships change year to year, and this is a map of our current school partners. So some of these partnerships may change, but we generally serve in Watts, South LA, Boyle Heights, and Koreatown. So most of our partnerships are in South LA and Watts, just something to keep in mind as you think about your service year. For part-time student school day learning coaches, we already do know which schools we're going to be serving in. So you're either going to be placed at Pio Pico Middle School or Dr. Maya Angelou Community High School. We'll send you more information about our school placement process when it's ready. know I've talked to a lot of folks about taking a survey, so we'll let you know what that looks like as we get closer to summer. But this is something to look forward to. Okay, now let's dive into some of the benefits. And when I say benefits, I'm going to be talking about like our health benefits, the stipend, mental health benefits as well. Not so much the intrinsic like value of doing a year of service and how City Year supports your career. I'm going to talk about mostly like health, mental health, kind of the monetary things. So everyone can opt into City Year's basic medical healthcare plan. If you want to keep your own insurance, you can. But we do offer this. It's through Aetna and CVS Caremark. I think a couple of things that I wanted to know that I think are especially useful is that we have this AmeriCorps member concierge, so they can help you select a doctor, just learn about your healthcare plan, and like help you plan upcoming treatment. So if you're ever feeling like lost, it is a resource that you can go to. We also have Teledoc. So if you're like me and you hate scheduling and going to doctor's appointments, you can speak with a licensed physician or a dermatologist through an app and just submit a form and they'll get back to you within like 48 hours. You can't go to them for everything, but for basic things like flu, bronchitis, sinus infections, rashes, you can meet with them over a phone or video call or just submit a form. But just wanted to note that as a cool thing. I had to use it recently, and so I just thought it was a cool thing to highlight because I know some folks might feel similarly about using medical resources. So I highly recommend it. You also have basic dental and vision coverage. You can check out some of the participating like providers here, but definitely recommend you schedule in that time, get your teeth cleaned, and utilize these benefits because they are here for you. In terms of mental health, we have the employee assistance program. It's called Support Link. So if you ever want to jump on a phone call with a licensed clinician for immediate assistance, like you can jump on the phone with someone, you can do short-term counseling, and just hear from other like experts about like financial planning and just other resources you believe you might need. We also have Talkspace. Oh, a little bit too quickly. But yeah, City Year has partnered with Talkspace to offer complimentary online therapy. It's easy for you to connect with a licensed behavioral therapist at any time. You can send text messages, video, audio messages to talk to your dedicated therapist if and when you need support. You will also have a free 3-year subscription to 10% Happier. I love this. It's a meditation / like mindfulness app, and they have little like bite-sized challenges or like videos that you can watch on the go, and their challenges are focused on specific concerns like anxiety or stress, and they really do have a diverse group of like meditation teachers, but also like they'll have interviews with like real like guidance counselors for various backgrounds. So it's helpful to hear diverse perspectives. I know when I served, we had a Headspace, and you could either listen to a meditation that wasn't guided, or you could listen to a guided meditation just, and there was only like one voice that you could listen to. But if you go to 10% Happier, you can actually hear like a woman guiding your meditation session. You can hear a Black woman guiding your meditation session. And so it's nice to have some diversity there as opposed to what we used to have in the past. Okay. And a new-ish benefit is E for E relief. Essentially, if you experience like a financial emergency that was entirely unexpected, you can apply for assistance and relief, especially if you have emergency expenses like even like during your relocation process as you're getting ready to prepare for city year. I know in the past we've had one person who's like, they were like moving here from across the country and driving their car, and their car kind of broke down and they incurred some expenses they hadn't expected. That's a kind of situation where you can apply for relief to see what E4E may be able to cover for you, and it's not taxed. So if you experience any like emergencies related to that, definitely reach out to me so that we can get you some support. Okay. For LA specifically, we also offer everyone a Metro tap card for all of our light rails and bus lines that are part of the Metro system. Doesn't include the Metro Link train. So if you're coming from like Santa Clarita and was hoping to take the Metro Link, the tap does not cover that, but we do cover like the light rail system and like Metro bus lines. This is a map of the light rail, and you can see what a sprawling city LA is. But when I served, I did not have a car, so I was in the Metro everywhere. So it's very accessible, and all of our partner schools can be really reached through public transportation. So just something to note as well as you think about your expenses in terms of transportation, how you want to utilize those resources. Okay. And your pay, of course, is also one of the main benefits. We're going to talk about what it looks like post-taxes, but for all full-time student success coaches, your stipend is $1,190 before taxes every 2 weeks. You're going to receive a 10K education award, and you'll have 12 personal or sick times off. If you are a part-time school day learning coach, your biweekly stipend is half that, so $595 before taxes, and your education award is reduced to $3,447.50. Your personal sick time, you've got 6 days. I think a great benefit, though, is that you're still going to have access to all those medical benefits I talked about. So yeah, medical, mental health, and that tap card. Most other like part-time positions like don't offer like access to all these benefits, and so it is kind of like a cool and unique benefit that serving with city or part-time is that we're able to extend. So just wanted to make note of that. We also have an amazing benefits guide that was put together by our senior core operations manager. It is linked in Slack. I'll reshare it again, but a lot of the information that we're talking about today is also covered in here. You definitely want to keep using this once your year starts, because there's a lot of details about like how to set up your healthcare account through Aetna, like a lot of those step-by-step details that you don't need right now, but will become useful for you when you begin service. So just wanted to plug the benefits guide and definitely check it out. Okay, I am going to pause and share something from my City Year keepsake box for y'all who are watching the recording. I think y'all can see me in my little window, but I'm going to share this drawing that a student gave me, Yesenia, just as you were a good City Year. And she didn't write her name, she wrote student because she was trying to be sneaky and hopefully didn't want me to be able to know that it was from her, but I knew it was from her. So if you DM me in Slack that I showed everyone a drawing from one of my students from when I served, I will send you a sticker in the mail. We also have a small group with us, so I'm going to have extra fanny packs. So you might get a fanny pack in the mail. I'll TBD, but I'll see what I can do. Alrighty. Now to talk about budgeting. So to start us off, you definitely want to identify all of those pre-service like startup costs and like your in-service expenses. So the costs of like, what's it going to take to relocate if you're going to, like the moving trucks, and I'll share a breakdown later. Those are some things you're going to think about. You also want to categorize your income and those expenses, whether they're fixed or flexible. So an example of like a fixed income is going to be your city or stipend. Something that could be like a fixed expense is like your Netflix account that like you pay for every month. So an example of something that's like flexible is like, I suppose like birthday money you may receive from family. That's kind of like a flexible income. It's like not set in stone. And a flexible expense is like how often you choose to eat out or like order Uber Eats or like DoorDash. You also want to think about your savings, think about how much you can try and save per month, so that you can wrap up your service year with a little bit of a buffer. I highly recommend using a template. I know Mint, Canva, and Excel has different options. I'll share this later, but we are working on updating budgeting templates from last year to reflect the new updated stipend amount. So it's on the way. You can definitely do some research on your own and see if you want to find a template that works for you. So we talked a bit about fixed income. This is a general estimate when it comes to what your stipend is going to be after taxes. So for folks who are serving full-time, generally estimating $890 to $1,000. And for folks who are part-time, it could be like $390 to $520. So anyways, we also talked about like fixed income being like, if you want another job, especially if you're serving like the part-time role, you're likely going to want another source of income to make sure you can pay for rent and like other expenses. And we'll talk about CalFresh and EBT some more, but that is another benefit that you could receive on a fixed basis to help you pay for your food. So this is generally what the breakdown looks like. The city or stipend is subject to federal and state taxes and withholdings. So that's why we say the $1,190 is like your pre-tax stipend amount, but post-taxes, it is going to range. So it's not going to exactly be $943 because it does depend on your withholdings. But that is like a general estimate. If you prefer to use like the range from the other sides, you can do so. But this is just something that can take into consideration as you think about your budget. And for folks who are part-time, same deal, but the kind of estimate is around 480. This is a list of potential things to consider when you take your moving budget, when you start working on your moving budget. You think about how you're going to travel to LA, whether you're taking a flight or if you're driving your car out here, taking a train. You also, as you're looking at residences, want to factor in like how much the security deposit is going to be. Security deposit covers the cost of any like damages that may incur during your time staying there. You want to have your first month rent ready to go. Application fees can range from like $30 to $50, just depending on where you're applying. There are some utility startup fees to take into consideration. I've talked to folks about ordering like documentation for registration. So if you need to order like your birth certificate, or if you're gonna get your passport renewed, that's like an expense to take into consideration. Los Angeles does require folks have renter's insurance, so that's another cost to factor in. Think about food, cleaning supplies, uniform pieces, furniture, and for getting a tuberculosis test, that is another fee to take into consideration. So I don't think this is a 100% complete list, but this is generally some things to take into consideration. This is also in the orientation guide, which is linked in Slack. I'll give another plug for that later, but we do have a whole chapter on budgeting and housing, and a lot of this is kind of like drawn from that. So if you ever want like a detailed resource and something to read after this, you can definitely reference that. Okay. Like I said, budget examples will be coming soon. There's a template I like to use in Canva that I think is super helpful. It breaks down like your fixed income versus your expenses, and there's a section for saving as well. So stay tuned. I'll post it in Slack once it's ready and share an announcement. So something to look forward to. I hope this presentation can help you get started and start planning your budget. And then if you need to make edits or adjustments, I hope these examples will help. Okay, in terms of tips and recommendations, definitely use CalFresh or apply to see if you qualify. I've talked about this a bit at other office hour sessions, but it really doesn't hurt to see what you may qualify for. I guess I'll move forward and go back. But yeah, CalFresh are like commonly known as like food stamps nationally, but it is a federal aid program, and city year does not influence the amount of like finances you may receive. But we do find that a lot of City Year Corps members do qualify for assistance because your stipend does not count as income when applying for CalFresh. So we also like will provide you with a letter that like states that, and you can include that in your application. But yeah, most AmeriCorps members, especially if you're not receiving support from like family, finds that they do qualify, and they use their benefits, also known as SNAP or EBT, to like pay for their food. So they'll issue you an EBT card, and you can use it at most like grocery stores and like food markets to pay for your food. So even if you think or you're not sure if you would qualify, I say it doesn't hurt to apply and just see what you do qualify for, because you never know, and it's worth knowing to see what you might get than kind of missing out on like additional funding for your food. I will also share from experience. When I served, I did qualify for CalFresh benefits, and it did cover the cost of all of my food for a month. And I was not receiving assistance from like family members, and like nobody from my family could claim me as a dependent on their taxes. So that could have influenced the amount I received. I had a roommate, so our rent was exactly the same, but she did have support from family members, and they could claim her as a dependent on their taxes. And she received like a smaller amount. I think it covered about like 2 to 3 weeks of food for her. But then she found that she tended to like need support from her family in terms of like budgeting for food. So just something to note, like talk to your parents about like their tax filing, whether you want to be a dependent or not. Not giving advice about what to do, because I know everyone's family like circumstances are unique. It's just something I wanted to share about my experience. There are a couple other pieces of advice I wanted to share. But yeah, you can also go to the farmer's market with your EBT card, and they will match it up to $20. So it's a great resource to have, that extra funding. There are also a list of like low cost gas and electricity options in the orientation guide and the budgeting section. So I definitely recommend checking that out. I highly recommend living with roommates and other folks to help reduce the amount of rent you're going to pay. Definitely take advantage of like free things to do in Los Angeles, like going to the park bringing a picnic, going to the beach, getting outside. And yeah, make use of your free Metro tap. If you need to bring your car, you can budget for that. But I highly recommend getting around LA for free on your Metro card as well. Yeah, and again, all of this is in the budgeting chapter of our orientation guide if you ever do want to reference it. I guess one more thing to note about CalFresh is that we typically every year do support folks through their application process just by arranging appointments by phone for folks to submit their application and like speak to a CalFresh worker about their application. So we'll give you more information about that, and we'll give you a letter that verifies that you're a core member with City Year and that your income does not, that your stipend does not count as income when applying for benefits. So just stay tuned for more details about that. Cool. Definitely lots of fun, free things to do. We talked about this as well at our last office hour, but it's a lot of local parks. You can go to Santa Monica Beach by taking the Expo line. And if you do apply for CalFresh and you receive your EBT card, a lot of museums will let you in for free if you bring your EBT card and show it. So definitely keep an eye out for free opportunities to ease your budget during the service year. Also do a quick plug for the relocation benefits we have. If you're relocating over 50 miles to serve with City or LA, you will receive $500 pre-tax in your first or second paycheck after you start serving the City Year. And if you need a place to stay, let's say registration takes place on a Friday, but your new lease doesn't begin until Monday, we can put you up in a local hotel if you need a place to stay. So in terms of what's next, we are still in the process of determining our official start date. And once we have that, we'll be able to share the pay schedule and let you know like what day what day you're going to receive your first paycheck, and so that you can calculate it every 2 weeks afterwards. Again, I'll share budgeting examples in Slack for you to reference. And we're going to have a couple events happening in May. One will be all about relocating to Los Angeles for those folks who are moving. And we'll also do a roommate meet and greet for folks who want to live with others and maybe get to know each other a little better. Alrighty, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And I forgot to put aside for Q&A time, but happy to answer questions folks might have. Now we rolled through that pretty quickly, but are any questions or concerns coming up for folks? Okay, well, thanks y'all for joining. It was a shorter session than our last office hour. Last time we took the full hour. So thanks for being here. For folks who are watching the recording, if you do have follow-up questions, definitely let me know. But thank you so much for coming, Amy. Thanks for coming, Vic. Hope everyone enjoys their week. I'll stay on after I stop the recording in case things do come up. But thank you for being here. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Nice to meet you.